I'm Bea.
And I'm Sam.
And we're two best friends who like to talk shit about smut, wingspan,
and sometimes books.
Join us every Wednesday for a new episode.
Welcome back, Smutterflies.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. How are you?
Happy Wednesday. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I feel like a new woman in terms of the book world.
Ooh, do tell.
Well, I read Onyx Storm.
Oh, you're part of the club.
And I fucking loved it. Like
I told you it was the best out of the three.
It was so good. I was 100 pages. Right, I got started it and I was like so grumpy about starting it. I was like,
yeah, I wasn't vibing in the beginning.
And I gotta say, Rebecca, if you're listening, because she's like main characters, right? Ryerson, Sorengale, and like Atos, right? You can get away with calling them by first name, surnames. I can get it because like they're the main characters, right? You cannot start calling Garrick and Sawyer, who like have never been referred to by their surnames, randomly start calling, and like she picks and chooses. Llewellyn is a person, but it's also a place. What the fuck? Yeah, so the world building was such a fucking bag of rocks to the face that I was like, if this doesn't pick up by 100 pages, I'm DNFing. That's what I said to myself. I was on page 60 something, and I was like, if this doesn't pick up the next 40 pages, I'm DNFing. And then I read the infamous words, Professor Ryerson. And
you were really on board with that, weren't you?
That does something for me deep down. I will say it was. I felt a little bit pointless because after the first like couple of scenes with him, he kind of really isn't. This isn't a spoiler, but like he doesn't continue to be a professor for most of it. Then it doesn't really pick, which is fine. I get it because honestly, the first couple of scenes, I was like, I just needed him to have an office. That's what I felt like it was missing. An office bang, a desk bang.
Well, any bang in the beginning, and you're just fucking gasping for it, and you.
Yeah, it took ages, and even when you do get it, it's not very.
He's like, no, I don't trust myself around you. I'm like, fuck
and then
off.
They did it on a chair. And again, this isn't spoilers, guys, for Onyx Storm, but like they did it on a chair, and it was like fine, but it like was a bit like we kind of had a much better chair bang last book, you know?
Yeah. Did Andana break your heart in this book? I sobbed.
Dane Atos saying eyes on me.
Woof.
Arik. Woof. Garrick. Woof. Him and Imogen.
Woof woof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you it was the best out of the three.
I fucking loved it. I ate it up. And I'm really sad that I'm in a reading slump now. Can't even
I was gonna say, what are you currently reading?
Well, I'm audiobooking Memory Puller, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Well, you've got your author spotlight as well, haven't you?
That's the thing. I was like, I'm not vibing anything right now. I know I'm gonna have to pick that up like next week. So I was like, I'm just gonna leave it and do that. What are you reading? Author spotlight?
Yes, of Withering Dreams by Rowan Adelaide.
Did you like it?
Yes, but I don't want to talk about it.
You just have to.
I just want to keep it for the author spotlight.
Okay.
Zipped. Any housekeeping?
Only housekeeping is, don't forget we have Patreon. We have Patreon exclusive episodes that are released every month. The month of June was Kiss of the Basilisk, which is unhinged to say the least. And polls are currently open for July's episode.
Yeah.
So if you would like to have a say in what we do on Patreon and listen to the bonus episodes, go join Patreon. We have 4 tiers. And if you would like to start seeing the main channel episodes live streamed every month, then that is starting the end of June on our highest Patreon tier, which is our full frontal. And they'll be getting that episode considerably sooner than anyone else.
Yeah.
And they get it live streamed, and at the end there'll be an exclusive Patreon Q&A.
Woo.
So we're on Patreon. We also are on Throne, which is in our link tree in our bios, which is where you can just do a one-time donation to support us raising some money for some new microphones. And we also have our TikTok live schedules on our Discord. Our Discord is free to join, but Sam's regularly posting our TikTok live schedules. We also have like a subscriber offer on our TikTok lives. And I think that's everything, right?
We are trying to go live more regularly. I did a little hour and a half last night after. After our Kris K Haines interview. I jumped on for an hour and a half.
But yeah, so everything we're doing, it's all to go back into the podcast because, like we said, our main focus at the moment is some new mics. We very kindly had one that supported already. We've just got one more to go.
Yes.
And any other news? Anything else happening? I feel like that's it, right? Nothing else.
Yeah, no, that's everything. So, today we are sitting down with the one and only Kris K Haines, author of the Memory Puller series. And we're specifically really talking about book 2.5 and book 3, Butcher and the Ballerina and The Rebel and the Captive.
Mm-hmm.
I get them confused, The Exile and the Saviour and The Rebel and the Captive.
Rebel and the Captive's 3, yeah.
And we sort of try and poke her for anything we can get for book 4. I gave her some book title ideas. She must think we're right nutters.
I think she does.
Yeah, but she's honestly like the coolest person ever. I could have stayed on the phone with her for so much longer.
I know. She's so fun. Like, everyone we speak to is easy to talk to. We always have such a fun time interviewing people. But like, I feel like we could go have a pint with Kris and we'd have a cracking time.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
I think she'd love a tequila rosé or a baby Guinness.
Yeah. She'd love to wear the spoons.
She'd love a spoon. She would. She'd love two jugs of cheeky VK for £12. So yeah, we are so excited to be sitting down with Kris again. She's our second returner on the podcast, and we know so many of you listen to this series, and we're friggin' obsessed with it. Literal crack, grind it up, and let me do a line of it. Yeah. And I just love Kris, and we hope you enjoy this interview.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Kris K Haines. I am the author of the Memory Puller series.
Yay! And we're so happy to have you back, Kris.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back. It's so sweet of you guys to have me back again. I love it.
Oh my gosh, we would have you every week. If you want to be the third host, come be the third host.
I feel like your listeners might get sick of me. They may be like, God, why are they having that damn Kris K Haines on again?
Nah. Kris, if they haven't got sick of us yet, then they're not going to get sick of you. If they put up with the two of us for this long, we'll be fine.
And a lot of our
Smutterflies. Oh, I should have said that. Hello, Smutterflies.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that name.
Me too. We love it.
A lot
and we can't
of our listeners have read the Memory Puller now, so we get lots of messages about it, which is really cool.
Oh, I love it.
So since we last spoke, I know that you had Butcher and the Ballerina already out, but we hadn't covered it on the podcast just yet because we were saving it to do with book 4, but technically 3 in terms of like the series. But like now you just said that we're 3 months out from Rebel and the Captive. So how is everything? How has that been?
It's going great. There was definitely, like, every time you release a book, there's like a little boost of sales and more people start to get into the series, and that definitely happened. I think it was my most successful launch yet. I got in like the top 4,000 of the Kindle store in the US, which was very exciting. And now I can see like people are starting the series and they're like going all the way through. Like I can see them in KU, the page reads on each of the books. So it's nice. It's nice to have people still like getting into the series 3 books in, and hopefully once the 4th book comes out, there'll be bigger jumps too. So
I'm sure of it. And I know, like, because obviously I was on a miniature hiatus when this came out, so I was so envious when Sam read it. Like, she would text me all the time, and I was like, "Oh, I hate that you get to read it." So obviously, as soon as I was back, I was like, and I think what Sam, literally less than 24 hours, I smashed it, Rebel on the Captive, like, and then I ordered it the other day because I have the paperbacks. So I was like, I need like the trophy copy, right, like on my shelf, and
It's huge, right?
And I was
It's
showing
a freaking
Sam.
brick.
I was like, look how big it is. I was like, I don't remember it being like, it didn't feel that
It
big
didn't
at
feel
all
big
reading
at
it.
all.
No.
It's huge. Is that your biggest one yet in terms of page count?
Yes, it is. I have a feeling the last one's going to be bigger, like even bigger than that. But that one was like 140,000 words, I think, and like Exile was 120, so it was definitely bigger.
Big, but yeah, I mean, it didn't feel like it. You could have given me double that, and it still wouldn't have been enough.
Good. That's the goal, right? Lots of words, but never make them feel boring.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I treated myself, and I'm currently audiobooking Memory Puller now, and it's just
They like Nikki and Neil nailed the characters. I was so blown away when I heard the MP3s when my publisher sent them to me for the first time. I was like, oh, couldn't have been better. And they're definitely coming back for the Rebel and the Captive audiobook, which I should have some news about a release date very soon. And they're contracted to do the fourth one too. So fingers crossed that everything goes well. But yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, I like, not to bias because I love Cassandra, obviously, but as soon as I heard him as Tristan, I was like, oh. I actually normally listen to audiobooks on at least like 1.5, usually, or 2 sometimes, because I just like to get through it. And as soon as I heard him speak, I was like, no, we're going back down to 1. I was like, I need to savor this. I was like, I need to enjoy this.
And you got to hear the depth, like, because Tristan's voice, I guess, is a little more like baritone, so it's a little higher. And then when he gets to Kale, and it's like so deep. And then Ronan, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to hear Ronan's POV chapters in book 3.
So I haven't got to Kale or Ronan yet. I think I'm on chapter like 6, but I'm so excited to hear them. Okay, so let's get into our questions that we sent over. So our first question is, the concept of memory as a currency is like the core of this entire series. Will that be an overarching theme or influence in the series finale?
Yes. Yes, it definitely will. And especially, you know, the things that happen in the first book of like pulling memories and humans getting kind of like obliviated. And if you've been following through the books, how Cassandra's powers kind of like increase with each book, and she's kind of maybe able to like restore people's memories as long as there's a connection between them and their loved ones. So that will definitely come to a head and come to a pass in some way in the series finale. And there'll be lots of talk about like, you know, what does memory mean? How do people share them? How do people interpret them differently? Definitely something that I'm going to be playing with in the finale.
Ooh, because
That
I know,
is
like,
so exciting.
it is, because we were talking about this, because like, obviously, kind of at the end of book 1 into book 2, Cassandra makes the decision she's no longer going to be a shrouded sister. But then that's what I loved so much in book 3 is you still have the elements of like her power being prevalent, even though she's kind of like left that part of her life behind. So that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I was like,
Right.
I'm curious to know, like, without you giving too much away, obviously, in book 4, do we kind of like, I wouldn't say come to a 360, but like, does it continue as like a big key player in book 4?
Yes, it'll definitely be a theme. And honestly, I can't spoil anything about book 4 because I haven't even outlined it yet. I have no idea what's going to happen. Well, that's not true. I have like little ideas about what's going to happen, but like I have plenty of time to change it.
You do.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hi, this is Truth Davis. Please tune into my podcast, Ruthless Truth with Truth Davis, where you can hear opinions, perspectives, real stories, and guidance for your personal and work life based on my unique life journey from the inner city to the C-suite.
That's so exciting. I love that. Mm-hmm. Cassandra's Robin Hood style sense of justice is why we fell in love with her. Do we see a darker side of her as the series develops?
I love this question too. It reminds me of like I talk about Game of Thrones on your podcast way too much, but like Daenerys's like villain arc in Game of Thrones, and everybody was so pissed in that final season when she went bad. So like that is not going to happen. Like Cassandra is one of the things that I love about writing her is how strong her moral compass is, and she's not going to stray from that no matter what, even with, becoming Fae and getting all these new powers. And if you read to the end of The Rebel and the Captive, you know that she's going to end up being Tristan's Empress. So she's always going to have that like moral compass, and maybe she'll get a little bit more morally gray. Just because she's going to have to deal with the fallout of everything that happened at the end of that book and the battles to come. But I think she'll still make the decisions that she feels are right. And she's always going to be championing the voiceless or the powerless. Like that's just who she is.
Yeah, I love that. I was like nervous when we asked this question, because if you were like, no, she's gonna have a huge villain arc, and like I love that. There's some MC like
full villain. Yeah.
But I'm glad that's the answer. You definitely know that like it's like having a favorite kid, right? You shouldn't have one, but you do, and you know how feral we are for the Butcher and the Ballerina, and particularly Ronan and Morel. So this question is specific to that book. Mm-hmm. So focusing on Butcher and the Ballerina, what made you decide to shift perspective to Ronan and Morel, and how do they expand the world for anyone who maybe hasn't got to that point yet?
Yeah. So I think we might have talked about this on the last episode that we did, but Ronan's character in Exile and the Savior at one point was going to be a female. And like in one of the later drafts, I changed him to a male, and he's got all the sexy tattoos and the eye patch. And I was like, I got to figure out how this guy lost his eye, right? Like I need to tell his story. Like he's too hot. He needs a love interest. Like I've got to do something with him. And at the time I was writing Rebel. And it wasn't going very well. I was like kind of lost in the weeds, and I'm like, I got to take a step back from this. Let me just focus on Ronan and Murray, and like I can figure out what their story is. And then as I was writing it, the twist at the end of that book kind of came to me, and I was like, okay, well now this makes perfect sense. Like I don't want to spoil it, but I'll say it anyways. Like they go from enemies to lovers and then back to enemies to then and having that dynamic to then write in Rebel was just like so much fun to play with, because they had so much tension in that book.
Yeah, we were feral, I think, to say the least, weren't we, Sam?
Yeah.
None of like the thing that I loved about writing this series is a thing that I love as a reader, which is I always want more than one couple to root for. Like if there's just one couple in a series, sometimes I get really bored, especially as it gets to like book 3 and book 4. I'm like, I need that like tension. And Tristan and Cassandra have this great kind of like friends to lovers dynamic. Kale and Xenia have sort of like, it's not enemies, it's more like irritation to lovers, and certainly the Grumpy Sunshine thing. And so with Ronan and Murray, I was like, well, I gotta do a couple that's like full enemies to lovers. Like they hate each other when they first meet, they overcome those boundaries, and then it's like right back there again in a very unexpected way that like neither of them saw coming.
Yeah, and I feel like when in Rebel you get them back on the page again together, that tension was crazy.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah.
I suppose on the same lines then, when you were writing Rebel and the Captive, were you just so happy to have Morel and Ronan back on the same page together? Because the scene in the alley, like, oh my God.
It changed my brain chemistry. My brain will never be the same again after that.
It was so fun to write that one. And I knew I wanted... So before I start writing every book, even before I start outlining it, sometimes I have like all the spicy scenes. I'm like, I know exactly what type of spicy scene I want to write, and let me figure out how I can make this work within the story. And so that alley scene, like with like the hate banging, like I knew I wanted to do that. Like I need some really angry sex to happen between Ronan and Murray in this book.
And it makes perfect sense, right? Like, if they were going to do it, it's not going to be like, because it's like such a short period of time.
Right.
It's a long period of time, but like obviously between 2.5 and Rebel, but like they're back together for such a short period of time that like it was never going to be like, like let's, I forgive you within
exactly.
Yeah.
They're both way too stubborn for that, and they both feel like maybe Murray a little bit less than Ronan, but they both feel like they've been wronged by the other one, and like to admit that they're still feeling to admit that they still have feelings for each other is just like they would never be that vulnerable or want to appear that weak. And so the ways that it comes out in their POV chapters through Rebel was really fun to write, and then especially in that alley scene, because it's like they're still like desperately in love with each other, but they're just pretending like they hate each other, and it's explosive.
And I think like what was so interesting to see is that I think we spoke about this, Sam, didn't we, in our episode, is like I really expected it to be Morale, or you say Murray, we say Morale. I've realised we've been butchering her name for so long.
No, it's fine. I knew that was going to happen when I gave her a French name. I'm like, everybody's probably just going to say Morale, but that's fine.
Do you remember, Sam? This is so on a tangent, but Spark of the Everflame by Pen Cole, and the MC is called Luther Corbois, but you call
yes.
But when we first and like literally in the first episode, I go like, Luther Corboys, and Sam just looks at me like, you're such an idiot, it's Corbois, and I'm like, I thought it was like Corboys, and she's like, no, you're such an idiot. Like Penn lives in France, like obviously, and I was like, oh, okay.
Everyone can pronounce the name however they want. It's fine.
But when we were going into Rebel, my expectation was that it was actually going to be Morel that was going to be the one that took longer, I guess, to get over it. Like, I was really convinced Ronan would go in and be like, I'm so still in love with you. Like, I thought it was all a bit of a front. And then to have that dynamic switched, I loved it. Like, I loved seeing that. And I love seeing that from her. Like, that time in Tartarus has given her time to almost really reflect, whereas maybe not that Ronan hasn't reflected, but he's kind of been living a normal life, right? Like he's kind of been getting on with it. And I loved it. I loved that she was the first one to kind of like break, because obviously in their book she's considerably more like no than he is,
And my favorite exchange between them in that book is when she's said like right before the alley scene, and she's like, I'm so sorry about your eye. And he's like, it has nothing to do with my eye. You broke my heart. I was like, I still cry when I read that line. I'm like, oh my God. It's just so, whew.
Oh, I love them.
Like, you can take my other eye. I don't give a shit. It's my heart.
Take an arm. Like, it doesn't matter. So how did you balance like the personal stakes, particularly in Rebel and the Captive, versus political fallout, specifically Tristan's choice to not pursue his ex-love for the better of the rebellion?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. He, there's a lot of scenes of his POV early in the book where he is really struggling with that, right? And I think that's part of why he's so insistent on getting the compendium and figuring out what the prophecy is, because he's like, and in my mind, like if the prophecy had been more clear of like, yes, you need to be with Ione because that's the only thing that's going to save this world, he probably would have done it, because that's just the type of person he is too, right? He's like, he's really concerned about the greater good, and he probably would have made the sacrifice if it was crystal clear that that's what he was supposed to do. But once they get the compendium, they read the prophecy, and it's still like, well, this can be open to a bunch of different interpretations. So for him, it's probably in his mind a little bit like, yes, I have an out. It could still be Cassandra. I'm not gonna give in to Ione trying to rub my feathers all the time.
Yeah, because Sam, I know we've apologised to you via DM, but Sam used a lot of colourful language towards Ione in our Rebel and the Captive episode. To say Sam is not a fan is honestly an understatement.
It was so funny. So I was listening. My commute is only like 25 minutes long to work. So I was listening to the episode on Wednesday, and I got halfway through, and I got right to the part, Sam, where you were like, Ione fucking cunt, or something like that. Like you said, that should have been her last name. I was like dying. That was the last thing I heard before I turned the car off and went into the office. It was perfect.
Honestly, the anger she instills in me, and then,
I was gonna say so the way that the Ione's twist at the end about like that she was actually turned by Tristan's father and was like, fucking him on the throne. I didn't add that until like the draft before my final draft. Like in my early drafts, she actually was a little like there wasn't enough resolution at the end. It was like she kind of like forgave Tristan and she was like, oh yes, Cassandra, you're the one. But it wasn't like it didn't have enough bang. So like I added that at the very last minute and I feel like it was the right decision.
oh my God, 100%. The jaw drop when I read it, I was like, oh my God. And then B obviously read it like a considerable amount of time after me. So it was like I was rereading the book then because B was texting me all the time and I was like, oh my God, I'm just so angry again.
We try not to like if one of us is reading or we're both reading something and we're going to record like soon, like we try not to converse via text because we want to keep everything like genuine for recording. So I was reading it like a few weeks before we were recording, quite a few weeks actually. And I was like, I know we're going to record this and I really shouldn't be texting Sam about it. But I was like, the only two things I text was, OMG, Kale has a fucking dragon. And then the second thing was, oh my God, that ending. Because I kind of like, when I say didn't expect it, I should come to expect it with you, Kris, because the plot twists just continue. But I don't know, I just felt like we'd had them, right? I was like, we're kind of done, like we're wrapping up, like cool, like she's pissed off, like cool. And then I was just like, oh my God.
It was a good one. And it leaves so much open to like what's going to happen with her now in book 4. Like I do it for the readers, obviously, but I do it for myself too, because I'm like, I need to leave a lot of open-ended questions so that I have like a very clear things to wrap up as I'm going into book 4 that like I have no idea what's going to happen. So I have to make it exciting for myself.
I mean, the fact that Tristan took her name and then it turns out that she was fucking his dad. Oh my God.
She's such a bitch.
Are we going to see another name change for Tristan?
Maybe.
Because once he finds that out, surely he's going to be like, fuck Saros,
yeah,
like
fuck
getting rid of that. Like,
yeah.
There
Ooh,
may be-
Tristan Fortin.
I was just going to say Fortin. I was like, I love that.
Maybe.
Oh, I didn't think
We
about
always
that.
do this. We try and write Chris's books for her and she's like, girls, fuck off.
No, it's awesome. I need ideas. Like I said, I have an outline. I have no idea what's going to happen. So we'll see what makes it in.
Sorry, this is a tangent, but I don't often listen to us once it goes out because I edit, right? I'm like I can't. It's too much. Like I listen to too much of us anyway. Like I can't keep doing it. I don't know why I listened to this week. There was a reason. I can't remember why, but I was listening, and I was like, no. We always say this is so obnoxious. Nobody finds us funnier than we do. Like it's really annoying. We just find ourselves really. But when Sam's like trying to give you title suggestions, and she's like, Queen. What did you say? Like Queen and the Fire. And I'm like, Sam, like what the
Was
fuck?
I drunk? Like what
Guys,
the fuck was I talking
maybe you
about?
were. It was really funny. And then I was like, no, you were like King and the Dragon. That was actually genuinely one that you gave. I was like, I think Kris has got a few more complex titles than King and the Dragon.
You'll be sorry, B, when it comes out and it's one of my titles.
Dang, now I got to take King and the Dragon off my list and name it something else.
Yeah.
What a shit title. Like, what is wrong with me, honestly?
But no offense to anyone that has a book called King and the Dragon.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lovely, appropriate title, but like...
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
me and my big ideas.
Funny.
So, in the last book, we see a lot of backdrop shifts from Thelene to the colonies to jungles, Kale's family home. How did you make each setting feel fully formed rather than just sort of plot backdrops?
I am like, this question blows my mind because sometimes I feel like that's the part of this that I'm the worst at, of like figuring out how to make the settings feel real and not just like, oh, I found a pretty picture on Pinterest and this is what I'm going to make this area look like. So I have no idea. I have no idea how I did that. The only one that I will say that was inspired by a real place that I've been. So Tartarus, is this like city. And the description of it when Ronan and Cassandra first arrive is like, it's a castle up on the hill, and then like the village is kind of like wound on the streets. I don't know if you guys know of Mont Saint-Michel in France. So that was like, which it does look like that. There's like a cathedral on the top, and then like the whole city is like the bottom part, and it's just like a really cool magical place. So like that was my inspiration for at least the look visually of Tartarus. But for the other ones, honestly, I have no idea. Like I said, I go onto Pinterest, I'm like, oh, that looks like that could be this place. And then I just try to describe it and make sure that the other thing that I try to do is like make sure that I'm not only describing it once, but like I call back to it when I'm in those scenes and just try to make it feel like the characters are somewhere grounded and very present.
Yeah, because I thought that like when I was reading book 3 is like, obviously because everybody's kind of not together again, like we're bouncing a lot, right? And I was thinking like, and this is like a nerdy writer brain, but I was like, damn, Kris, you're really doing it. I was like, because if this was me, I'd be like, where am I? I was like, I have no idea. Like jungle, like no, like castle, like no. But no, I mean, we always say this, if we said this in our episodes, the fact that like you don't necessarily plot the whole, like you kind of go book to book. We always say this, and we said it in the last episode, me and Studio, is just freaking wild because like the pullbacks and the drawbacks are just crazy. And the same in this, like it was no different in book 3, right?
Incredible.
Thank you. I read them so many times, like while going through the drafting and the editing. Well, B, you probably know this too. Like I've read these books probably like 200 times, and I just keep adding more details. I think of it like almost like an artist, right? Like you do the sketch with the bones, and then you go in and you color everything, and then you like add the little details, and it takes a while. And then I could probably still add details. Like if I hadn't, I would probably go back and fix a bunch of stuff in all the books if I could, but I won't.
I call it faffing. Like the last time I said to Sam, like it's faffing, and I was like, I have to. There has to be a point where you have to stop because you're like, I could just faff with this continuously. Like I could just keep like just nitpicking.
Yeah.
So I get it. I do.
Something just came to my mind because when we recorded, B went on and on about how your special edition of Ronan, he's wearing nipple covers. That's not accurate, is it? Because I can't find it.
No.
I thought because he has like gloves, right? Am I saying he has like gloves?
He has gloves. He has like not gloves, but like wrappings around his fists.
Yeah, from fighting.
No, he's not. Actually, no, he doesn't. His fists are. I didn't even. His fists are bare. And no, I mean he's just got like he's got really sexy like hard nipples, but they're not nipple covers.
I thought afterwards, I looked for it and I was like, I'm sure B has just lied.
But you have like pin-up versions, right?
I do.
Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking. Is that the pin-up of Ronan is the SE cover of Ronan? Maybe that's where I was getting confused.
You know what? Because it's the same artist, Bookish Avril, who is incredible. She posted like a pin-up of just like a random. Yes, she posted a pin-up of a random character, and I like ran into her DMs. I was like, oh my God, I need you to do this for all of my characters for the memory puller. And in like a series of like 3 weeks, she had all of them drawn, and they're incredible. And Ronan in his little corset and his like full length gloves. So good.
That's where I was getting confused. I thought that the pin-up ones were the SE covers for Butcher's Albert now.
But still,
because it was burned in my brain. I know he just has nips. I couldn't remember if it was nipple covers or his nips were out. I did say don't quote me. When I said it, I was like, don't quote me on this.
Yeah, we lie a lot. I'll just say something that happens in a book and B's like, that didn't happen. You've made that up.
Oh my gosh, this is so on a tangent, right? But the worst, Kris, right? When we did Akaten for our local Waterstones, like 10-year Akatar celebration, right? We hosted it. And Sam, because we were doing a quiz, so Sam wrote it, needless to say, because like I'm not good with stuff like that. And then so we did like 5 questions for each book. And one of the questions for Miss and Fury was, what is like, what was it, Sam? How much time has passed since end of ACOTAR to the beginning of Mist and Fury? And it does say it on the first page. So then everyone was like, okay, not sure. And then Sam rolled out, like, in front of all these people, right? Went, it's actually the opening line of Akamath, right? Like, it's the first line. And a friend of mine, Rachel, who's like a massive ACOTAR fan, was there in the crowd. And like, she still got it right. But then after, Rachel was like, that isn't the opening line to Akamath. And I was like, are you sure, Rachel? It absolutely is not the opening line to Akamath. But Sam stood there in front of like all these people with their full chest and was like, it's the opening line. It was so funny.
And you know what? Like 50% of the audience probably believed you because you said it with confidence.
Yeah.
So
my version must be different. It's the first line of my version.
exactly.
Yeah, Sarah wrote you a different version.
Yeah, my special edition from Sarah.
So the last time we spoke, and you kind of answered this already, but the last time we spoke, you said you don't plot from book to book. But do you now at least have an idea of how the series is going to end? At least like the end, right? Like maybe not how we get there, but at least like the final wrap up, I guess.
I know where we're going, and I think I know what like the final climactic scene is. Like what are we building towards in Rebel? Like I know what that is. And I had like an epiphany a couple months ago of like one of the ways that they're going to get there that involves some of the things that happened at the end of Rebel, especially the part about how Tristan and Cassandra have been through this before many, many times in like many different worlds. And so I think that's going to be a part of the fourth book. Like there's certainly got to be, if you have a twist that big, there's got to be implications. It's not like you can say, okay, I'm going to ignore this now and I'm just going to go off on another tangent. So there's going to be that. But I say this now, and who knows, once I start writing, I might change my mind. Like how I changed my mind about Ione. Like she was going to be really nice at the end of Rebel, and then I just like decimated her character.
I'm so, as much as Sam hates it, aren't you glad that was kept in though, right, Sam? Like,
oh my God, yes. Like, oh, that payoff. I was like, oh. And I love to hate. I absolutely love to hate people. So
Sam's a Scorpio.
Yeah,
Noted.
If you couldn't tell. So trust is a recurring theme in your books. Should we be worried for book 4?
You know, betrayals are like the most fun thing to write, right? So I would say, yeah, I think you're going to have to be worried. There could be some things that are going to shake the world up in book 4.
Because Ender Butcher and the Ballerina ripped my heart out and put it through a meat grinder. Like that was rough. That one was rough. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to end the series that way. It is a romantic fantasy, so it's going to have happy endings. I don't know how we're going to get there, but we'll figure it out.
And right. And also like the definition of happy ending is different for everyone, isn't it? So like
exactly.
It can still be like a happy ending, but like with what consequence or like, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm so scared.
I know.
So I think I wrote this question with the plan of Sam asking it, but because I'm talking about myself in the third person. But am I deluded in holding out for some Kale and Tristan action?
It's like my favorite part about listening to that episode. You know, Tristan and Kale have always had that little tension between them, even from book 1. And I think it's always been that like, Kale is bi, right? And he's been attracted to Tristan forever. And like Tristan knows it. And I think he like teases him about it, but in like a fun way, not in like a mean way. But I feel like maybe in some universe he could be into that for sure. And I think the only reason he might not go for it is because he wouldn't want to ruin their friendship. Like if things went poorly, you know, or if they tried it and it didn't work out, like Kale is too good of a friend to Tristan.
Yeah, I agree with you. I remember, and now like listening to the audiobook, like I remember that in Memory Puller, like that's how they're like when they were still like a cop duo, right? Like that's their very much their dynamic. But obviously because then Tristan obviously focus goes on to Cassandra and Kale takes a little longer, but like eventually with Xenia. I think I kind of just like forgot about it. And then when they were sat in those church ruins in Revel, I was like, is it just me or am I like sensing this? I was like, are they, you know, like when people are like, are they gonna kiss? Like I was like, are they gonna kiss right now? Like
Maybe they will. Maybe that's one of the scenes that I'll have to write in the 4th book. Is like they're just gonna go for it once.
I think
maybe,
they should.
but
Or somebody
maybe
can
we
dream
could
about it.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. We could have it but not have it. It could be like a sex dream, like a really vivid sex dream.
Maybe I'll do that as like a bonus chapter. I'll do it just for you guys.
Have you read Kiss of the Basilisk, Chris?
Yes, I did. That book is mad. It was crazy.
Wild. But you know the challenges chapter right at the end? It's like the non-canon, like kind of like if look. All I'm saying is if you want to give us like a challenges of like,
Noted.
I think there would be a very high uptake, not just from me, from everyone.
Well, it's like the in a court of silver flames when like Nesta has that little like she has that little line about Azrael and Cassian, and I'm sure I bet Sarah J. Maas wrote that chapter. I bet that
She
did.
She did. That's out in the will. She says it. Yeah. She wrote it and she took it out because she felt like it was too steamy.
She needs to release that, man. We need to
Even
read
if it's not
that.
canon, like
Exactly. Yeah, just give it. Yeah,
it's just Nesta's fantasy. It's fine.
I agree.
So
right. So if you could write mine and B's fantasy, that'd be great. Thanks, Chris.
What I could do, I would just for you guys, just because I love you both.
So the ending of book 3 literally had our jaws on the floor. Can you give any hints as to what this foreshadows in book 4?
I will say it foreshadows where they're going to end up going. It foreshadows like, oh wait, which ending are you talking about? There's like 4 different endings in Revel. The one where they find out that like Aemon is gone and he's hunting down the goddess. Yeah. So it foreshadows like where this final battle is going to happen and how they're gonna have to figure out how to find him.
Oh,
I thought maybe you were talking about the epilogue with Xenia.
Well, and I mean also that. I mean,
well, it's funny because in your episode, you guys were talking about like, well, does that mean that Xenia's pregnant now? And I will confirm exclusively on your podcast that yes, she is. That's what that means.
I'm sure because Sam thought that, right? When Sam read it, that's what Sam thought. Sam thought that like it's immediate, like as of right now. But I was like, but the child's older, right? And I was like, is it just like this is what it could look like, but it might take 10, 1500, like we don't know.
Because you can, so the way that the halfway, that's like the soul realm area that they're in, like anybody can visit that at any time from anywhere in the future or the past. Like there's no, like time doesn't exist in the same way. So yes, she is officially pregnant at the end of Revel and the Captive, and we'll see what those implications are going to be in the next book.
Damn, Chris.
I added a line in one of the chapters. I think it's the one where she's like, she's at the Rebel headquarters and she's being like watched over by Trophonius. And I added a line. I might have taken it out. I always forget. This is the problem of writing so many drafts, right? Like you add lines and then you remove them and then you go back and add them. But at one point there was a line in there about how Trophonius was like, she's really strong. She has something that she's fighting for. And like, you think that maybe he's talking about Kale, but it's actually the little baby life that's growing inside of her.
I love that. Sam's literally speaking, because that's what Sam thought. And when we were recording, I was like, yeah, but you jump into conclusions. I was like, it could be.
I was listening to it. I was like, you're right, Sam. You are right.
Shocker, Sam thought was right. Actually, no, not about the Akamath thing. Wow.
At least I didn't say Ronan was wearing nipple covers, B.
So yeah, back to that question then, I suppose. I'm just scared, Chris. That's all I can say.
Kale's bride-to-be, sorry, this isn't one of our questions, but Kale's bride-to-be being the daughter of the person with the dragon's name, like, that was fucking perfect. Like, I was like, oh my God.
I knew I wanted to have the two storylines connect somehow, right? So it's not just like, oh, they're over here in Tartarus dealing with this, and like Kale and Xenia are over here. Like, I wanted it to feel woven together, and that like they were kind of dealing with similar things on either side.
Yeah, it was freaking wild. When they were talking about like under the bed, I was like, what's under the bed? I was like, oh no. And then when it says, I was like, oh my gosh.
I did feel a little bad about killing her. Because she's like, to your point, I think you guys were talking about this, like by the time you find out what's happened to her, she's actually a pretty sympathetic character, because it's really shitty what happened to her. But then I just decided, you know what, Xenia's going to offer her the chance, right? She offered her the chance. She said, you can come help us get revenge on the people that did this to your family. And she was like, nope. And then her head exploded.
The way she dies as well, like, it's just like so fucking brutal and so fucking good.
It was class. Well, I think you said it, Sam, like, had that character been like a POV or like an FMC, like, you would have that like sympathetic ship, right? Because like of what she's fighting for, like what she's been, like, I mean, the last memory she has of like Kale's family is literally Ari and Zephyrus killing her parents effectively. So like, how do you, of course that's going to be your like driver for the rest of your 20 whatever hundreds of things of years, is like, you're all going to die, like, I'm going to kill you all, because, you know. So I get it.
The other reason that I did it too was because like I got so many freaking characters already, right? Like I wasn't about to add like all these additional characters to book 4. Like I want to just wrap up the ones that I have.
Yeah,
so you're like, you off.
Didn't we? Yeah. So do you have any timelines for book 4 release?
I'm aiming right now for the second half of 2026. So I'm working on another book. The title will be revealed at the end of June, so probably after this comes out. But I did announce on my page last week. It's a dark romantasy collection. It's called the Immortal Hunters collection. So it's me, Mallory Benjamin, Courtney Wims, Ann Caudle, and Shaylin Gandhi. It's been so much fun, like brainstorming what our books are going to be about, and then we're all going to be releasing within 2 weeks of each other, starting next April, and there'll be lots more news about it, so everybody should check it out. And mine is it's kind of like Bridgerton meets The Cruel Prince. It's about a society woman who she's on the brink of her final social season, and then she gets whisked away to the other world, and it's been really fun. Like, and I mentioned earlier when we were talking, like, I had started writing Rebel, and then I got stuck, and that's when I wrote Butcher and the Ballerina. So this time I purposely was like, okay, you're done Rebel, go completely different, like write something completely different, because then like the memory puller universe ideas will just percolate in the background, and then when I'm done the one that I'm writing now, then I can start that, and I'll have hopefully plenty of inspiration to work with. So I'm thinking probably like August, September of 2026.
Because when you announced the collab that you're doing with all the other authors, I was like flicking through, and I was like, we've done Courtney Williams. I was like, we've done Shaylin Gandhi. I was like, yeah. I was like so excited to see so many names that we knew in that. I'm so freaking excited to read every single one of those.
Me too.
Are you going to release it as like a complete collection, or is it going to be individual releases, like and then you can read them all, or just like standalone, right?
Yeah, they're definitely all standalones, completely different worlds, different universes, and they'll release one by one. And I'm sure at some point we'll do like, you can buy them all together. We've talked about maybe potentially doing an omnibus, but everybody's books are so long, it would probably be like 2,000 pages or something. But yeah, we've been talking about that, so we'll see.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. I can't wait.
Me too. It's so hard for me, like, talking about books that I'm in the middle of writing, because I change my mind so many times. So I've done some teasers on Threads, And like sometimes I'll put in like a comp title, and then the thing that was the reason for that comp title is like totally irrelevant now. So I'm like, oh crap, why did I say that? Because that's not going to make it into the final book. Book marketing is tough.
And is this the one, because I saw on Threads, because I'm not a stalker at all, but I am. But is this the one you're talking about, the one that you referenced had like Celtic mythology in, or is that?
Yes, and that is staying. That is like, that's core to the story, so that's not going anywhere.
As soon as I saw it attack Sam, like Kris K Haines Celtic mythology, she was like, smash. I was like, yeah, I know.
And I hope I don't bastardize it. Maybe I'll have to make you guys beta readers and tell me if I like really mess anything up.
I will. It's such a sad nerdy passion of mine that like I will talk to anyone about it till the cows come home. So like, you're so welcome. We will 100% volunteer.
Love it. Thank you. I will need you.
So our final question, I don't want this to end. It's always so much fun talking to you, Kris. If the Memory Puller was adapted to film or TV, who would you cast as your main cast?
Oh God. This is the one that I read and I totally forgot about because I'm so bad at this stuff. Well, so Cassandra's easy. Cassandra would be like a young Jennifer Connelly from Labyrinth. Like that's who I was picturing in my mind when I wrote her. But I don't know who I would cast nowadays. Somebody with like dark hair and like light blue eyes. Who would that be nowadays? I don't even know. And then when I was writing Tristan, I was thinking of, this is such a lame, like basic answer, but I was thinking of Henry Cavill in the movie Immortals, very specifically in that movie, because he got like really buff towards the end of his career, like maybe like just a little too buff for my taste, but in Immortals, his body was like perfect. So I'm like, so that's who I would cast. I would go totally against, time and space, and I would go back in time, and I would pick those two actors. So Jennifer Connelly from the 80s and Henry Cavill from like the early 2000s.
I'm currently Googling Henry Cavill in Immortal because I needed to see it. And I love it.
You will be rewarded. What do you guys think? Do you have any like fan casts?
I was just
you
thinking
want to play them?
I feel like I hate saying these because I hate saying them and then people being like, oh my gosh, gross, no, like no way would my character be this person. I don't know if I wouldn't maybe say a personality thing, right? Maybe take personality out of it. But what's James Franco's younger brother called who was in Scrubs?
Oh, yeah, Dave Franco.
I feel like he gives me Kale vibes, maybe not like personality wise, but like visually. Yeah. I feel like he gives me big like Kale vibes.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
I'm like scared now that I'm Googling. I'm like, does he? Yeah, no, he does.
No, yeah, 100%. He's super hot as well.
Yeah.
That picture specifically, you're gonna have to like post that into the Discord so people can see what we're looking at.
This is what. If anyone's ever wondering, this is Kris confirmed. Yeah, I don't know. And also, sorry, this is really like so. But did you ever watch George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser? The female, like I can't think of her name, but the blonde curly haired one.
Leslie Mann. Oh my God, for Xenia. Yes. That's a great. Oh my God, yes.
And even like personality, she has such a like sunshine personality, like.
And with her voice is so like, wow, maybe that was subconsciously who I was thinking of as I was writing her, because that feels like clicked right into place.
Yeah, she gives me big Xenia vibes, definitely. It's hard though, right? Because everyone.
I didn't know who you were talking about, but now that I've seen her, I'm like, yes,
she's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I maybe know her from anything else. Do I? Maybe not. I don't know. She
was in This Is 40.
I don't watch movies. Nah, I don't like comedy movies. I don't do humor in movies. It's just not my thing. I don't do when people are trying to tell me something's funny because I don't find it funny.
She was in like, did you see The Cable? Well, no, I guess that was funny too. The Cable Guy from like the mid 90s with Jim Carrey. I think she was in that one. Maybe? I don't know.
She is.
Oh, yes. She was.
She's in The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Never seen it. Sorry.
Big Daddy. Have you seen Big Daddy B? Oh my God. 17 again with Zac Efron. Fuck's sake, B.
I've never seen it. All I'm going to say is, right, this gives you like, I've never seen Mean Girls.
Scandalous. It's so
She
good.
won't go to the cinema, Chris.
I don't
She
go to
will
the
not-
movies. Like I don't
She
do
will
movies.
not
I don't
go
do
to the
cinema.
cinema.
I have too much unmedicated ADHD to be sitting through a movie from beginning to end. Like I can't do it. But like the movies that I love, right? Like I can watch and watch and watch. Like I love the movies that I love, but I can't. I don't do well at
If
like
you're not
branching.
into it, you can't just. I totally understand that. Like if you can't get into it, you're like, I could be doing 5 million other things. Why am I wasting my time on this? I get it.
Like The Lost Boys, one of my favorite movies. I could watch it 150 times in a row. Like love it. But actually saying that, this is really rare. But maybe Kiefer Sutherland in The Lost Boys does give me a little bit of Ronin, just a little bit with the blondness, but maybe just a little bit of Ronin.
Yeah, I could see that. The other one that I was just thinking for Ronan, and I have no idea what this actor's name is, but there is on Amazon Prime the Reacher series. Like there's this big buff blonde guy. I don't know what his name was. He's in a movie. He was in Guy Ritchie's movie last year, like something about gentlemen and war.
And he did a movie with and he did a movie with Henry Cavill, right? I don't know if that's when and they're like on a boat. Yes.
Yes. And he had glasses, but he's like huge and ripped, and he's got this really deep voice. I feel like he could be Ronan.
Yes. I'm just looking at him.
I was going to say, do you have a name, B? Because I can't find him. Reacher.
Yes.
Oh my God. I love him.
He's stunning. Yes, I agree. That was a good fan cast. I didn't expect that I'd be able to say that many. I'm so bad at fan casting stuff. You know, when people say like, "Who do you think's gonna play who?" I'm like, my brain can't like compute it. Like, because you just have your version of them, right? Like, it's hard to like put names to it.
And it's hard because like so much of it has so little to do with the actual looks, and it's more about like the personality and like the vibe of the person. I would hope that if, fingers crossed, manifesting all the things, if someday they ever made a movie or a television series of my books, that they would just go for like completely unknown people. Like completely unknown people that we could just like do a worldwide search.
Yeah. Sorry, this is a tangent, but like I don't know if you've watched the what's it called? Shadow and Bone, right? Like that Netflix series. So good. So I've not read, neither of us have read the first 3, but we've read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdoms. But like if you just show me the guy who plays Kaz Brekker before watching it, I would have been like, no way, he's not Kaz. But then like he is Kaz, like he is, like nobody could have done it like him. And I think pretty much all of them were like unknown, but minus Ben Barnes because he's freaking Prince Harry, right? But like, I mean, but all of them were like unknown. But I feel like the casting was like perfection with every single one of them.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
Me and B could be the horses that pull the carriage. We could be shifters.
The horses with their jobs. Oh, I got a job with the emperor. I still think about that all the time and just like randomly laugh.
I'm so sorry, Chris. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for coming back. We have literally had the best time ever, as always. Like we didn't expect it to be anything less, but I mean, needless to say, we ate up Rebel. Needless to say, we're going to write up anything that you release ever.
Thank you. I would seriously, as long as if your listeners aren't sick of me, I would come back whenever.
We will hold you to that. And obviously, in preparation for book 4, we will have you back on. Squeeze everything we can out of you before it gets released.
So that was Kris K Haines 2.0.
Yeah, that was like, we said it at the beginning, but I literally could have sat there all evening, had a glass of wine and just...
so much fun. You did have a glass of wine.
I did, no, but like continued to have multiple glass of wines and like continued to drink wine and talk shit with Chris. Like, she's literally a frigging dream and I loved it.
I'm so excited for the next book.
But I'm so excited to read that like collab she's doing with like Shailene Gandhi and Courtney. Oh, give me all of those. I cannot freaking wait for that.
Yeah.
Because that's what like Slaying the Vampire Conqueror is for Krista Broadbent, and that's what she did with other authors. It's a part of like a series which is very similar. And I love that.
Alyssa Lonergan did one as well.
She did. I need to read it. That was like the voodoo kind of like southern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to read that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
I think it's really cool that authors are doing these sorts of things and like bringing like omnibuses of stories together. It's a really fun way to collaborate with people and to like promote each other.
Yeah, and also like you get kind of like standalones from authors that maybe you wouldn't like. Chris has only ever written Mary Potter, which is a series, which is great. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. But same as at Chris Broadbent, like they do these standalones, which like some obviously for Chris, not so much for Chris, are like they're in their world, but then you don't have like you can just pick those up and read them individually as well. I love it. Give me more. Give it all to me.
Well, I think I speak for both of us when I say that Chris is an Instabuy author.
Oh, 100%. We say this in the episode of Chris, obviously, if you just listen. But when I got Rebel and the Captive paperback a few weeks ago, it's humongous.
I didn't feel it though, because you showed it to me and I was like, no.
Massive. But do you know what? Do you know what I will say? Is Chris's books are so deliciously floppy. Oh.
I love a floppy book.
Just want somebody to like smack me around the face with it, you know?
Like a flaccid penis.
Yeah, smack me around the face and call me daddy, because smack me around the face and call me a shrouded sister, because those are some damn floppy good books.
Join us next week for our Fantasy Woman draft, where we draft our Fantasy Women teams. No spoilers or very minimal spoilers. We just talk about fantasy women from books that we've read that we would sort of want in our team if we were to build a team of women. And then the week after that, we are covering Riftborn and Duskbound in one episode. And the week after that, we are interviewing the authors of Riftborn and Duskbound, Greenwich and Lennox. And the week after that, oh my gosh, we're so organised. We are doing our favourite microtropes. This is going to get unhinged.
Yeah, I can't wait to record this one. We haven't recorded it as of right now, but I'm so buzzing. You know, guys, we're going to talk in length about carriage banging, in length about shower wanking, in length about let me wash your hair.
Yeah, so expect it to be a smutty episode.
But again, spoiler free. So if you haven't, like, you don't have to read any of the books. But
we will sort of say, like, oh, you know, we love a shower wank. If you love a shower wank, you can find it here. Like, we'll give you references to books that if you like that sort of microtrope, as we do, then you can find it yourself.
Yeah.
And I'll be interested to get feedback from our listeners of any of their favourite microtropes. And where we can find them.
Maybe we can even talk about microtropes that we don't like.
Ooh.
Or maybe we save that for another episode.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've got a lot to cover in the microtrope.
Yeah,
episode.
me too. I've got loads. I started writing them today and I was like, oh, there's a lot there.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've got a busy couple of weeks coming up, guys. You've got a week to read Riftborn and Duskbound if you want to follow along with that episode.
Now's your warning.
And after that, who knows?
Who knows?
We're hoping
maybe a Kiss Carved in Bone. We're hoping Danny Jensen wants to come on and...
Yeah, be good to speak to her again. Because, you know, we met her.
But yeah, we've never interviewed her on the podcast.
Yeah. Humble brag, met her.
All right. We're mates.
Yeah, friends.
Are we done?
I think so.
Yay!
Thanks so much for listening. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at A Pod of Smut and Wingspan.
See you next week.
Bye.